We ran the numbers for detached homes for the first 3 quarters of 2023, and we compared them to the first 3 quarters of 2024, which is where we are now. And there are definitely some neighborhoods that are increasing in value much quicker than the rest. And I think that you're going to be shocked by number 1. What is up, everybody? Thanks for watching. We are going to dive into some of the most valuable neighborhoods for detached homes in the city of Red Deer. Now, I do realize that there still is 4 months left in the year. Could these numbers change? Maybe, but I don't think they will. We will revisit this video in January and see if anything has changed. Some of these neighborhoods, especially the top ones, were way out in front of a lot of the other neighborhoods. So I don't know if they're going to be overtaken. So a lot of the times in November and December, you really see things start to slow down in the real estate market here and through the winter time. We're going to see a little pickup coming into the fall, as the fall is usually busier than the summertime. But let's dive into the top 5 neighborhoods for detached homes that are increasing the most in value so far in 2024. Now, throw it in the comments below before you get to the end of the video. I want to see if you guys can predict or guess which neighborhood has shown the most appreciation so far. All right, let's get into the neighborhood of Vanier. Now, before we get into the numbers, let's kind of talk about the neighborhood. There's 2 sections to this neighborhood. There's Vanier Woods, which is slightly older, and then on the east side, you have the aptly named Vanier East. I feel like they really put a ton of effort into naming that side of the neighborhood. Now, if we look on a map, the location of this area is right in the southeast corner of the city. So it's really quiet out there. You're kind of away from the riffraff and downtown and the busyness of Gates Avenue. So people like it for that reason. And in my opinion, this is one of the best areas for young families. I actually used to live in Vanier East myself, and the amount of young families and young kids there, it is absolutely phenomenal. Every time I'm out there getting videos, or when I lived there, my girls always had tons of kids to play with. It's just such a busy, vibrant, energetic area of the city. There is a ton of parks and different playgrounds, really cool playgrounds. I know in the area of Vanier East itself, right in the middle of the neighborhood, there is a green space with some amazing parks for the kids, and I really enjoyed living there. Now let's take a look at the numbers, and this is for detached homes only. The median price, and we're going to use median numbers because I feel like they're a better representation than averages. Averages can be a little bit more volatile. Median is a little bit more stable, I guess you can say. But in 2023, through the first 3 quarters of the year, which is where we are now, the median detached price was $501,000. If we compare that same time frame to 2024, we are now at $561,000, which is a 12.18% increase. That is a nice return on investment in your property.
Oh my God, can you believe this place?
They even have a drawer just for batteries.
Now let's kind of split hairs here and talk about some of the potential cons of living in this area. I know when I lived there myself, I had friends asking me, don't you find it kind of far away from shopping and different things like that? And I kind of thought that was kind of silly, in my opinion. You are about a 10 or 15 minute drive away from Bower Mall and Gates Avenue and South Point Common. It's definitely not within walking distance, but in my opinion, it's not really that far of a drive. But by Red Deer standards, maybe it might be considered a little bit farther away than a lot of other neighborhoods that would be a little bit closer. That sounded really smart, didn't it? Now, this is a newer neighborhood, so you're not gonna have a lot of the mature trees and the beauty that comes with living in an older neighborhood. A lot of the lots are not going to be massive per se, and if you do find like a pie lot or a corner lot, you are going to pay a premium for it. And one thing to think about when you are in this neighborhood, if you do have kids in the public middle school division or age group, you will be going across town to West Park Middle School to take your kids to school. Now, not a huge deal. It's definitely not super close, probably a 15-minute drive or so across the city. It is still on the south side, but This is a super popular area of the city to live in. I really enjoyed my time there, and I totally expected, and I'm not surprised that this one is increasing in value the way it is. And I'm not surprised that it made the list. Jumping in here really quick to remind you guys that I am a licensed realtor in area, so you do need help making the move. Use this info popping up. Get a hold of me any way you'd like, phone, text, email. Would love to hear from you. All right, let's get back to the neighborhoods. All right, let's head a little bit north now and look at the next neighborhood on the list. We're gonna talk about neighborhood number 4, which is Lancaster. I really like this area as well. As you can see, it is also in the southeast corner of the city. I also owned a home in Lancaster. This is actually where I bought my first house. And again, I really enjoyed my time there. Now, I know I just said that Vanier was a phenomenal area for young families, and it is, but Lancaster might give it a run for its money. I think it might be the best neighborhood if you have a young family, because it has so many schools in the area. So there is Maddie McCullough, which is a public elementary school. You have St. Francis of Assisi, which is a Catholic middle school. And you have 2 high schools in the neighborhood. So you have Notre Dame and Hunting Hills. One is Catholic, one is public. So your kids are just about covered from every age group, except for that public middle school division. Again, in this catchment area, in this southeast corner, you're gonna be heading across town to West Park, just like we talked about with the Vanier neighborhood. Now, something else that's really cool about this neighborhood is that right in between the 2 high schools, you have the Collicutt Center, which is one of the OG rec centers here in Red Deer. It has everything that you can think of. So running tracks, gym, field houses, skating rinks. It's got a wave pool. You can go have a booster juice and a coffee there. It's got a daycare. So if you have a brand new baby, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, you just need to get out of the house, go get a workout in. You can drop the kids off at daycare and head in and grab a workout, or just take some time and take a breath.
Okay, I have one baby to get to daycare.
Now let's take a look at the numbers. In 2023, the median detached price was $383,000. Fast forward to 2024, we've seen that price go up to $432,000, which is a 12.79% increase, just about 13%. So some nice appreciation in this area. Again, super popular area of the city to live in. Homes are going to be a little bit older in this neighborhood compared to Vanier. Well, most of them are going to be built in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. But this is also a phenomenal area of the city to live in. And again, not surprising to me that has made this list. All right, let's continue on to neighborhood number 3. We're gonna go a couple more neighborhoods north of Lancaster. We are still on the east side of Red Deer. We are going to talk about the neighborhood of Rosedale. Now let's start with the numbers on this one. In 2023, the median detached price was $390,000. So far in 2024, we've seen that climb to $444,000, which gives an appreciation rate of 13.85%, which is absolutely fantastic.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Never have before.
I want to live here.
What?
This house is incredible.
Doesn't seem like the right reason, but I do love the media room.
Love is real.
Now let's talk about the neighborhood itself. Rosedale definitely has an older demographic to it. I've sold a few houses in this area, definitely an older demographic. It's a very quiet neighborhood for sure. And I think it's got a lot of character. So most of the homes are going to be in the 80s and 90s. You're going to find a lot of bungalows and split levels and some really cool layouts here. And I think it has a really, really strong community feel. I remember selling a home on Rich Close, and they have block parties all throughout the summertime. So if you put a yellow flag out in your yard, that means it's time to come over to your place and shake it up a little bit. So I think that is super cool. You don't find that in every neighborhood within the city. So something really cool about the neighborhood of Rosedale. Now this is an area also, if you're looking for space, this is a good area to look in. A lot of these older neighborhoods in the 80s and 90s timeframe and older, you're gonna have those bigger lots and mature trees and just a little bit more space in between the homes. I know sometimes in the newer neighborhoods, it can feel like you're almost stacked right on top of each other and they don't have as much charm and character. This is great if you're looking for that extra space. Now, there is no immediate shopping within the neighborhood of Rosedale. However, if you just go north, you hit the Timberstone neighborhood, which is known for its amenities. So there is Timberstone Plaza, I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me on that or fact check me. It's an outdoor market. There's just about everything that you can think of, from grocery stores to gyms to all different types of restaurants and supplement stores, pet stores. And right across the way from Timberstone, we have Clearview Ridge, which in my opinion has even more amenities than the Timberstone area. So you're about a 5-minute drive away from all of these amazing amenities in Timberstone and Clearview. All right, let's keep it going. Let's move on to neighborhood number 2 on the list. We're still on the east side of the city. We are actually going directly south of the neighborhood of Rosedale, and we are going to talk about the neighborhood of Deer Park. Now, just like Rosedale, this is an older neighborhood. However, you're going to find some a little bit newer compared to Rosedale. Most of the homes are built in the 80s and 90s, and you're going to find a few of them built in the early 2000s. Again, if you're looking for that extra space and bigger lots, Deer Park is a great option for that. It's a huge neighborhood, and this has been actually one of the most moved to neighborhoods in 2024 so far. So it is a really popular area of the city to live in. Now, you do have some amenities right within the neighborhood. You have Holy Family School, which is a Catholic elementary school. So it's great if your kids are in that age group. And there is kind of a little shopping plaza within the area. So there's a grocery store in there, there's little pubs in there, Dairy Queen, Mucho Burrito if you like Mexican food, and a gas station. So you do have some kind of immediate stuff right in that area. And if we look on a map, we already did, but if we look again, you can see that it's kind of right in that central location on the east side. So you're really close to kind of everything that's over there. You're close to the Collicutt Center and all the high schools. They're just south of the Deer Park neighborhood in Lancaster. And then again, as we talked about, Rosedale is directly north of Deer Park, and directly north of that, you find all the amenities in Timberstone and Clearview. So you have pretty easy access to that. As well, I forgot to mention too, there is a brand new Catholic high school in the Timberstone neighborhood. So you do have a ton of options when it comes to high schools and different schools on this side of the city. Now let's talk about the numbers. In 2023, through the first 3 quarters of the year, the median detached price was $382,000. So far, in the same time frame in 2024, we are at $445,000, which is a 16.69% increase. Holy cow. So you are seeing a ton of value. Deer Park, like I said, has been one of the most moved to neighborhoods, and it has been one of the neighborhoods that have seen the most appreciation over the last year. Now, let's get into neighborhood number 1, and I hope you guys have been commenting below. See if you can figure out which one it is, because I think you're actually going to be shocked by it. We are going to leave this southeast section in the east side of Red Deer, and we are going to head up to the north side to, drumroll please, let's talk about the neighborhood of Kentwood. All right, before we talk about the neighborhood, let's talk about the numbers, because I am pumped for the neighborhood of Kentwood. In 2023, the median detached price was $358,000. So far in 2024, we are up to $430,000, which gives us an appreciation of just over 20%. We're sitting at 20.33%. which is absolutely amazing for this northern neighborhood. And it just goes to show you that even though the north side of Red Deer, in my opinion, it does get a bad rap, and there are a couple neighborhoods on the north side that really do kind of deserve that reputation, but there still is some really good areas on the north side to live, and Kentwood is obviously one of them. Now, again, it is an older neighborhood, so most of the homes are going to be built in the 80s and 90s, and you will find, some in the early 2000s. So again, we're going to have that beautiful wood cabinets, oak cabinets, and oak trim that people love so much. Now, out of all the neighborhoods that we talked about today, and I think this is one of the big reasons why people are loving this neighborhood, is that this one is going to be one of the quietest neighborhoods. If we look on a map, you can see the location of this neighborhood. You are as far north in the city of Red Deer as you can get. There's nothing any farther north than these neighborhoods of Kentwood and Johnstone. So it is super quiet up there. You are really far away from a lot of the busyness of downtown. Now, other than the train that runs on the north side of this neighborhood every so often, it is definitely a super quiet neighborhood, and people love it for that reason. And Kentwood just got a brand new Catholic middle school, which is amazing for the neighborhood. And when you're living on the north end, there's a lot of industrial parks up there. So a lot of opportunity for employment. We have Edgar Industrial, which is on the west side. We have Riverside Industrial, which has Old Email in there, which employs a ton of people in the city. So if you are working in some of these areas, it's going to be a super quick drive. The traffic up on the north end is not going to be as busy as it would be on the south end and the north end. And I think you're going to see even more value come to areas like Kentwood and potentially Johnstone as they start to develop the north end. There is a new development taking place that's going to be just a little bit north of Kentwood, as well as to the west near Highway 2. It's called Haslet Lake. This is a master plan community that's going to be developed here in the future, and I am super pumped for it. Now let's kind of talk about some of the cons of living in this area. Again, you are on that very northern border of the city. So I know we talked about how Vanier, some people complained how that might have been a little bit far away from some of the best shopping in the city. Being on the very northern border, you absolutely are going to be far away from some of the best shopping in the city, which is on that south end. Bower Mall, South Point Common, Costco is way down on Gasoline Alley. So it will be a bit of a commute. We are in Red Deer though, so it's going to be maybe 20 minutes on a bad day at the most. So that is definitely something to consider if you are thinking of living in this area. You do, however, have easy access to Highway 2. So if you did want to take the highway straight down to Costco, it wouldn't be that bad of a trip now that I think about this again.
Quite a house you have here.
And
We want to buy it.
Way under asking and with multiple contingencies. Thank you for accepting.
not a chance in hell.
So I'm pumped to see that that a neighborhood like Kentwood on the north end, is increasing in value the way it is. It just goes to show you that there are some good neighborhoods on the north end. So I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you're notified every week when a new video comes out. And if you would like any help with the real estate needs, use this info popping up. Get a hold of me any way you'd like. Would love to hear from you. I'll see you guys next week.